Are you ready for a night like no other? Turn down the lights, turn up the radio, and stand by for a Night Owl special with Alan Robson.
You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
Can you hear those noises in the background? My goodness, that's spooky already. Where am I? I was so tempted tonight to say I'm going to scare the heebie-beegies out of you. Because tonight we are dead talking. We're talking to the dead. That's our aim, that's our ambition. So where am I right now? I've just pulled the car up. On my left-hand side, you're driving up the A1 or you're driving down the A1. If you're heading up on the left-hand side, you'll see two huge concrete pillars. That used to be the outside wall to Chillingham Castle. They owned all of the land from there right the way into the centre of the country, where we're heading soon. Take that road. As soon as you get through the wibbly-wobbly bit, before you reach Chatton, there's a big long stretch of road with farmers' fields on one side and a lot of trees on the left. When you get past all of those trees, you see what I'm staring at now. The Witch's Crag. It's heavily overgrown. However, back in the day, when the people of Chillingham decided they were going to build a church here, they were going to build a monastery and allow the monks to take control and badly mistreat the locals who were nearly all pagan. So the pagans decided they were going to fight back, and one woman who called herself a priestess from back in the day, just a wise woman really, she would grab all of the small children belonging to the wealthy family, snatch them away, take them to the top of that crag. She would slit their throats and throw them off the top to the rocks below. Now, it's only about 50, 60 feet, but any child that hadn't been thoroughly dispatched at the top would certainly be dead by the time they reached the bottom. Living at the bottom of the Witch's Crag was a family who couldn't subsist, they couldn't make any money. They were outcasts of the pagan community, they were outcasts to the Christians, and there, at the very base, you could find a hollowed-out cave, and the people in that cave would feed on the bodies of the children thrown from the Witch's Crag. A very simple first story. Because all of the little secret stories, some of them that you may well not have heard before, we're going to share with you tonight. We're going beyond Chillingham Castle, and we're talking to the dead. So, Chillingham Castle has become synonymous with us. We love Sir Humphrey Wakefield. He's been an absolute gem. He's looked after us big style, and he's opened the castle up in ways that no other castle could ever do. It's amazing the job he's done. Now, if you look to the top of the castle, you don't just see a weather vane, you see a huge golden bat. And there are bats here late at night. For now, I've moved to Chillingham soil. So many stories. We're going to share them with you. And you can also hear how other people got on when they visited the legend that is Chillingham Castle.
Very close to doing a runner from that place.
Really? Why? What happened?
I feel sure I was touched on the back of the neck by something. I'm not going to say that I don't know what it was, but
Right.
I certainly felt like I was touched on the back of the neck. It didn't feel like a draft. It felt like something solid, something touching
Right.
me. And then there was the candle was placed, as you can picture the actual Great Hall. There's a long table up the middle.
Right, the one where all the earls and dukes and stuff used to
That's
gather
the
around
one.
pulling chickens together.
Exactly. And
Right.
a big tapestry hanging on the end of the
Yes.
on the wall rather.
So that's the wall opposite where there's a huge horseman.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I was sitting, or I was standing actually beside the huge horseman,
Right.
looking down the table, and where the candle was placed, there was a I don't know whether I think it's like a helmet on a pedestal,
Right.
standing in the middle of the table,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw this shadow on the far. It was actually on the tapestry, like a tall shadow. It looked like a plinth of some sort,
Uh-huh.
and I automatically assumed it was just the shadow of the helmet
Yeah.
being cast because the candle was in front of it.
Mhm.
I turned back moments later, and the shadow wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
Now the candle hadn't been moved, So unless it was just the change of the height of the flame or whatever, I don't know. But definitely the shadow had gone, and it was a predominant shadow. It wasn't
Right.
I wouldn't say it was human. Like it looked like a
dark shape,
shape.
long shadow. Right. Was it a particularly black shadow?
Yeah, very black.
Right.
The noise of that mechanical thing was spookiness.
You've heard a hunting horn.
Yeah, like a boop, and then the bell, like a school bell ringing. Dead clear.
Have you felt anything? Did you sense any emotions in any of the places you've been?
I started getting cold when I was in that oubliette, when I was
Right.
in there.
It is a different place in the dark, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're sitting there thinking, why am I doing this? You hear noises and you think, I'm not going for a look. Maybe I'm going to look to see where that's coming from.
Have you taken any photographs?
I have, yes.
Because this is the interesting thing, because you went to Chillingham during the daytime,
That's
and
right.
you didn't get anything, and then when you got back to check them out on the computer, you'd taken the most amazing photograph I've ever seen of energy that's on our website now.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that over the next week or so, the fascinating thing's to find out what you've caught this time, because you've gone at night time when
Yeah.
there's nobody else around to create any other kind of energy. You'll get what's really there. So keep me posted when you get back as to whether you've caught anything.
Right.
Lovely.
Oh, will do, yeah.
Thank you very much for your kindness, David.
Right.
Have a safe journey home. Thanks for taking part.
Thank you. It's been an honour. Thanks very much.
I've been in the Great Hall.
You've been in the Great Hall, which leads to the chapel, which leads to another room, which I can't remember. Oh, the Minstrels Gallery. So, what's happened? Anything?
Well, I was sitting in the Great Hall, and I could be mistaken, but I'm sure I heard whispering coming from, the bit where the massive tapestry is,
Yes.
from along that end of the room.
Whispering.
I'm sure I did, and plus I was listening for the wind,
Uh-huh.
and I was sitting sort of in the middle,
Yeah.
and there was the wooden things across the windows,
Yes.
and they gave a couple of good bloody big bangs, probably French.
Because you're actually up on the first floor there, so there can't be anybody at the window.
No, I mean, I was listening for the wind to see if the wind rattling, but surely the wind would have rattled them more, but it was just twice,
So this
It
is...
was definitely, I swear there was somebody whispering.
And you heard, was it male or female?
It sounded more feminine.
A female
Sounded more
whispering
feminine.
in the castle. How did you feel? Did you sense anything?
Not really, I'm sitting here, my legs are shaking. But no.
So your legs are
no,
shaking.
like,
Were you frightened by it?
I'm nervous, I'm more nervous tonight.
What did you get? Anything?
Well, I heard some more whispering, but the difference is this time it was male, and it wasn't as long, because the whispering was constant all the time. This one wasn't.
Right.
And
Could you make any words out?
I heard the word sigh or something.
Right.
I'm sure I did, and I heard a bang.
Right.
And I was sitting sort of, where the long table is?
Yes.
And I was sitting next to that window, and I was looking through to where all the toys are and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I could be wrong, but I'm sure I've seen a dark shadow, and I kept looking away and looking back, to see if it was my eyes playing tricks, and it was there, and it was long, and it was short, and then sometimes it was big,
So you was this just a shadow, or was this a number of shadows?
It just seemed to be one shadow, but it seemed to be changing shape. And the last thing that's happened is, I've actually seen 3 bluish-white little flashes on the ceiling next to the beams. Well, I remember what you said was, when you go into a room, feel the feelings of it.
Yes.
And I went to that door, and I did not want to go in there. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go in here, please no. But I went in, and I sat down, and for the first 10 minutes I was scared. And then I put my back against the wall, and I felt just total hopelessness. I know it's a bit out of a daft, but I
felt...
just thought, well, I'm here.
Oh, this is interesting, because a lot of people... You're doing something that I don't think anybody has ever done at Chillingham Castle, perhaps other than me.
Uh-huh.
You tried to almost sense feelings from the wall.
Yeah.
Or from the actual building itself. You touched the wall and you felt what that wall gave you. It gave you hopelessness.
Yeah, just like I was there and I couldn't do nothing about it.
We got a bit worried about you there.
Yeah.
So, how was the King Edward I room?
I failed, yeah. For the last 10 minutes I was frightened, so I stood in the hallway with the light on. So, honestly, I tell you the truth, you could slice a block of cheese with my nerves tonight, because honestly, that just stretched.
They're shot, are they?
But a couple of things did happen.
Yeah.
The darkness was very, very pressing in, very much,
Oppressive.
Yeah, it was very, some places were dark. I didn't see shadows move or anything like that.
Right.
Some places were definitely darker than the other one.
Yeah, that's probably too dark for you to be able to see anything in here.
Yeah, it was just, some places looked light grey, but then other ones really, really black.
Right. Oh, I see. Right.
But the other weird thing that happened was when I came, so Alan, the caretaker, I said, have you had a TV or a radio? And he said, no. But I definitely heard female voices.
We didn't expect this, but Julie has come out of, I think it was the Great Hall she was just about to go into. Let's find out. Hiya, Julie.
Hiya.
Hello, darling. Why have you come out so early?
Alan, there's all sorts in there.
What do you mean?
There's just stuff up and down touching you.
You felt something touching you?
Oh, there was backwards and forward shapes, and something was touching us, and there was knocking, and there was voices coming from the chapel.
Because the chapel, there's only 2 doors into the chapel, and you can see them both from where you are in the Great Hall. Obviously, one's got to come through the curtain or past you. So you heard voices in the chapel. Explain this thing that touched you.
I don't know what it was. It was just when I went in, I felt really sick.
Right.
And within a couple of minutes, it was just things like rushing up and down.
What, moving past you quickly?
Uh-huh. And
Right.
then something was like over my face and my back, and it was horrible.
From within the room?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then there was a hand placed on top of my head, and it was there for a long time.
Now, that's 3 out of 3 this week that have felt a hand placed on either their face or their head.
Well, I couldn't put it on my face because I had my hands on my own face. I didn't want them to put it on my face, so I've covered my face.
So you spent the whole time with your hands over your face?
Yeah, the whole time.
So if there had been something moving around in there, you wouldn't have seen it, or would you?
Yeah, well, I was moving my head around, but my hands were still on my face.
Right.
So it was maybe one of the cattle, but I heard a really, like a moan. You know, like a...
There was a cow in there with you.
You know, it was like a far away, you know, when you hear... but it may have been one of the cattle, I don't know.
So, in the B&B I was in last night, I heard noises like that last night. I don't think it was a cow, though, if I'm honest. So you got a moaning noise...
Yeah.
...that you, to be comfortable, are saying was a cow.
Well, I asked Richard when I come out and I said, would that have been a cow? And he said, well, it could have been, but I don't know. So and I had to get an aniseed ball off him as well. He said, really aniseed ball.
Well, let's face it, when you're faced with a dead cow that's haunting a dungeon, an aniseed ball is the only answer.
Now, while you were in that dungeon area, you could see through the hole in the floor the body of the child, and you decided to do a particularly lovely thing, and that's to put an unopened bud of a rose as a tribute to the young girl who'd passed away in agony in there on the floor. And what happened?
And the smell filled the room to the point where it was overwhelming.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that was like really, really like a payback. It was really, really weird.
That's impossible, isn't it?
Oh, it was impossible because, they've been in my bag all the time and I hadn't noticed them.
You hadn't noticed any kind of smell?
No, and then I just put them down on the grate and just the smell was overwhelming.
One single rose,
One rose
completely filled the room with perfume.
Yeah.
Can't be done. So apart from being swooped on by hundreds of bats, what does it mean to you, Chillingham?
Yeah, there's something here, and I don't know what it is, but it'll either terrify the life out of you or completely intrigue you.
I walked in and I just went, oh, I feel sick, and my stomach just turned.
Right.
When I walked in, and my stomach, I just felt really nauseous, and I was starting to kind of go, finding not hard to breathe, but kind of not comfortable.
Right.
And I heard footsteps, which there was a little recess just next to where I was standing. There was footsteps behind that. Then I hear, and think, did I hear that?
Right.
And then I hear it again.
Was it in the room with you?
It was in the room, but it's almost like it's coming from the walls, like you can't quite hear it. It got very black again. My eyes did that funny thing again.
Right.
And then, so it may, as I say, it just might be my eyes,
your eyes,
you know, but I felt
Did
like
you
I
feel
saw something on the right, and then all of a sudden it was very, very close on the left side, and that's when I went, right, okay, I think I've had enough.
We talked about it being maybe an eye thing when you're in the woods. Did you sense something getting very close to you? Was the darkness moving closer to you?
That's what it feels like.
Right.
Yeah,
Could you make shape of the darkness?
No.
Right.
No, not at all.
So it's almost like blackness is surrounding you.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that freaked you out. That's nasty. You could hear it. What exactly could you hear at the far end of
It's just shuffling noises. It's nothing. You can't pinpoint exactly what it is. It's not
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's just like a shuffling noise, so you can't really see what it is. But it was in the distance.
Right.
And then I could hear it getting closer and hear it. And then, you know, when you're aware that somebody is around you, say if you're in a room on your own and somebody comes in and you're aware that somebody's came in, and I could hear and feel that it was there, and I could see a dark shape, and by that point I just screamed to be out.
I would like to see Arthur C. Clarke explain this one away. And I am willing to go back to Chillingham. It's fantastic proof.
Would you go at night?
No. I might go, but I might take a sharp exit.
Did a panoramic view of the castle, the front of the castle itself.
Right.
We got it back, and we were 99% sure that there was nobody else in the castle when we were there. Like, obviously, you know, in the windows and stuff. There's what looks like a figure in the window of the actual castle itself. It was a very small one you saw on the photograph. So we pulled it up, sort of zoomed it right in. And lo and behold, in the window, there's a figure of a young lad. But in the doorway, there's a transparent figure of a man.
Wow.
And I didn't notice it.
So you've been surrounded by bats. Then what happened?
On the balcony, there's a door leading off to an archway leading off to the left and the right. And this large shadow that was quite large, I would have to say it was sort of man-sized, dashed out of the archway along the balcony, lost sight of it, but it moved along rapidly. It moved out of the doorway, through the doorway, it went onto the balcony maybe a few feet, and then I saw it that was it, gone.
So first hour in there, and you've seen a ghost.
I can't think of any explanation for it.
Now, you're a psychiatric nurse. You're not prone to flights of fancy here.
No.
And how clearly did you see that? That's not an imagination
No,
thing.
I saw that quite clearly.
And then later, in the museum...
One unusual thing was that this rogue breeze caressed my face from 2 or 3 different angles. Couldn't pick it up from the fireplace, don't know where it came from.
Because that room is quite
airtight, I would think. Breeze just like caressing my face, but not from the same direction all the time.
That is strange.
This is amazing. 1 hour, 40 minutes into our Chillingham Castle challenge, and it looks like this woman is going to get out of there. We go over to Lynn now.
Hi.
What's happened?
I went into the Minstrels and they closed the door. You know the balcony?
Yes.
There's something on the balcony.
You saw something on the balcony?
And something very, very, very nasty.
Right.
I am not staying a minute longer at Chillingham Castle. I'm leaving. I'm going. This sounds chicken to anyone out there. You be in my place and you see what it's like. Because quite frankly, I'm scared shitless in here. From the minute I walked in, it's just felt so claustrophobic. It is extremely oppressive. Honest to all those skeptics out there is something at this castle. And it's something very, very dark and very, very nasty, and that is the reason why I'm getting out of here. Quite frankly, whatever it is doesn't like me.
And we got somebody else going in there on Night Owls Tonight.
What's the secret here then? Find out after the break. Britain's most listened to, Alan Robson, out of his box, happy as a pig in poo. Let's get cracking.
Goes back into the darkness at Chillingham Castle to talk to the dead.
Metro Radio.
Hi, Alan Robson with you. We have just left the Chillingham Castle grounds. I'm walking through the cemetery now. It is St. Peter's Cemetery. But did you know that was originally an old pagan cemetery, and they removed the bodies of the pagans to put the Christians in? Now, talk about stirring up a little bit of unpleasant activity. There has been, certainly in the early years, a whole host of poltergeist activity coming from the churchyard when the church was first installed. Late at night, when there were no priests in the church, the bell would ring. And people would complain, saying to the church, "You got to stop that bell ringing. It's keeping me awake." But there was nobody there. Something else was ringing. That bell. They've got an original stained glass window from back in the day that was once completely broken with a human shape through the middle of it. No body was ever found at either side, just right through the middle, almost as if somebody had dived through the window out of choice. A lot of things have happened in this neck of the woods. And if you turn in the opposite direction and you look down towards the... there's a tiny little ford that you have to come through if you come down the side road to the castle, which is the main way in for the people who live here and who are resident here. When you pass the ford, some people say, oh, I'm getting the chills already and I haven't even managed to get into the castle yet. Well, that's because so many people were being killed here. They had difficulty housing them all. The torture chamber's quite small. The oubliette's quite small. They were choked in here. There were like 20 people to a cell big enough for 2 and 3. They were rammed. So what they ended up doing on the ford, manacles were hammered into the ground and they would chain Scots in the water, and then some of them would survive for weeks because they're drinking the water, subsisting, eating anything that happened to crawl past their mouth. However, sooner or later, there'd be some heavy rain. Face it, this is Northumberland, not too far from the Scottish borders. You're going to get some rain, and when that rain came down, the ford was flooded. Those Scots were killed. In some cases, they left the body there just so that the water would run the flesh off the bones, the rotting flesh, and then they'd come and remove the skeletal remains. And once again, did they bury them in the churchyard? No, they were Scots. They're the enemy. They're the hated. They loathed the Scots here. So they didn't bury them in sanctified ground. Instead, they did one of two things. They either went up to the lake where there was a bog. There wasn't a lake there at the time, there was just a bog. And they realised that if they wanted to get rid of a body, instead of setting it on fire, instead of digging a hole and burying it, let's face it, how long is it going to take you to dig 300 graves, 500 graves, 700 graves? So instead, they loaded them onto carts. They climbed all the way up along the side of the castle to where the bog was, and they put the people onto the ground and just eased them into the mud until they disappeared. Now, the worst thing about this, it's all pretty bad, but the worst thing about it was quite often some of these people weren't dead yet. So I don't know whether you can imagine suddenly sinking beneath that row of silt and looking up and seeing people who hate you pushing you down until suddenly it was black, and suddenly the amount of oxygen under there was getting less and less and less, and your lungs were filling up with mud, and you were trying to scream, but you can't because the mud was getting into your lungs. Oh, my goodness. Terrifying. As I say, we are outside at the moment, the occasional car nipping past behind us because there's the Chillingham Wild Cattle Park's just up to the left-hand side. So, what else happened outside of here? Well, just north of the cemetery, the Scots used to try and invade the castle because it's the most northerly point. So it's obviously easier for the Scots to come all the way down. Remembering the Chillingham Castle's not just where the castle is now. They had outside walls that are now used as garden walls for houses on the other side. And it went all the way to the A1. That's a massive area. And a lot of the soldiers lived there. A lot of the people connected to the castle had homes. And everybody joined in the cause to keep the Scots at bay. Now, the high ground to the castle is directly behind it. Why couldn't they just charge down from the height and conquer the castle? Because they went to the bog. The bog was there. Horses couldn't get through. Men, especially if you're carrying heavy swords, if you were wearing armour, all of that, you wouldn't manage. You wouldn't manage to get through the bog. You would sink into it and you would disappear. So up there, they had very few men to guard the place. And by doing that, they could use their men further down, where the walls were a good the original walls are, yes, some of them 6-7 feet. So you can imagine Scots trying to leap up over the top of them and climb in, and people with pikes poking at them and sticking a spear in them and all that kind of thing. It's an absolute miracle that most of it is still there. Over the years, they've put a little bit of metal fencing in there so you can see through it, but that wasn't there at the time. The walls were all roughly the same height, and they went right the way around the edge. And once you got in, there was a moat. The moat's not there anymore, but you can see where the moat was with the downward slope directly in front of the main gate of the castle. However, we are here to talk to the dead, and that's what we're about to do now, because we're heading in. Richard's with me. Exciting times. We've never ever done this kind of thing at Chillingham.
No, not at all. This is a first.
An absolute first. Well, let's go in where there's another story that is quite grisly, because a lot of people, when they come to Chillingham, they just go straight in, straight to the castle, have a look inside the castle, and they think they've seen everything. Have a look around the graveyard. Get the feel of a place where the bodies of the dead were removed before their time, where they were just dumped in pits, sunk in bogs, thrown away, human lives thrown away. No memory for their children and grandchildren to come and pay tribute to their ancestors. But the Northumbrians, they're all right because they were Christian. Nobody else was worth anything, because the Christians would put money on the plate. No one else would. And once you have a look at that church, you can see the upper parts of the church worn away, wearing down, damage to it. And it's said that that damage was caused by the poltergeist activity back in the day. We've never touched it, because with it being a religious building, we've left it alone. And we've concentrated on this land, which has always been a pagan land. If you look to your right-hand side, down past where the ford is, if you take a right, there's a hill over there, and on that hill is standing stones, pagan standing stones, and they've been there something like 6,000 years. And you can see them looking exactly as they did 6,000 years ago if you go up there. Yet Chillingham tried to build a church, tried to build that monastery to give God to the pagan land of Chillingham, and they lasted 3 years. And there's a whole host of cool stories about that. So when you just get through the gates, you'll find on one side there's like an entrance tower that was once heavily defended, people with crossbows, people with bows and arrows, keeping Scots out. This gate was a wooden gate, and it was slammed shut, and you didn't get past anything like that. However, the wall, the Scots got over the wall, and they thought, we're in. Sorted, no problem. They poured across the wall with little easily put together ladders. They would stand on the far side of the wall, climb up, see if there was any pikemen, see if there was any archers about, and they'd make sure that they were clear to do that. They got over the wall, and this is the area where that took place. The full length of the wall, if you can imagine. And now talking between 1 and 1,400 Scots came over this wall at that time. Now, we had a whole host of people trying to defend the property, but how do you defend an area that big? Well, to be honest, the people at Chillingham were really good at what they did. They were very, very clever indeed. Now, back in the time, the water here was about 4, 5, 6 feet deep. It was far deeper than it is now. And I know today we've come and it's only about a foot deep. It's rocks, it's a dribble. But back then, if you can imagine it, a fast-flowing river coming down from the hills. It's been dammed in a couple of places up the mountainside. Imagine it 6 foot deep. Well, that's where you defend it. You don't defend them coming over the walls, because you'd never be able to do it. Instead, you defend the bridge and you defend the water on the opposite side, because they're wading through, they're tripping over bricks, they're soaked. Some of them are too short for the amount of water that's there. We're talking 6 foot of water. Do you swim across? How do you carry a weapon when you're trying to get across 6 foot of water? So on the opposite side archers were just killing people. And the thing that they said, and this will just kind of show you how many Scots, out of all of those Scots, very few survived. And towards the end of the battle, the rest of the troops from Chillingham came down over the bridge, over the little bridge, which was a wooden bridge at the time. They came over the bridge, got into the Scots, trying to get back out on their side of the river, and finished them off. They say there were no survivors. I would imagine one or two would have scattered into the heavy woodland that was directly behind the castle at the time, but very few survived. And they say that this river runs through about 15 small villages in Northumberland, and at that time, rip-roaringly, like white water through these villages. And they said that for almost 16 months, not days, not weeks, for 16 months, the water coming from this part of Chillingham was red with blood. Imagine it probably got a bit pinky towards the end, but red with blood. And imagine 6 foot deep, full of dead bodies. Bodies that they didn't even move. They left them there. They left them on the banks. They left them in the water. And they left them there for one reason, to intimidate any other Scots that were going to try to take over the Chillingham land.
Turn down the lights if you dare. Hear every step we take around Chillingham Castle. Only on Night Owls.
Metro Radio.
Now, this is the main area where more Scots died than anybody else. The crows, the birds of ill omen, are already speaking to us. They're glad we're here. The mosquitoes at this time of night are also acting up. Richard, let's have a go of the grand device and see whether we get anything here. Seeking out to talk to an angry Scottish person whose life was taken here. Hello, did you die here? Already getting something there. What's your name? My name's Alan. What's your name? What's your name? John?
John, it sounded like to me.
Hello, John. Thanks for coming through to us. Which side were you on? Were you on the side of the English or the Scots? Were you on the side of the English or the Scots?
It sounded like Dougie.
Dougie? Is there a Dougie there? Are you a Douglas? If you're there, Dougie, if you want to talk, I'll talk to you. I'm here on Chillingham ground. Did you die here? Did you die here, Dougie? It's tantalising. I heard what you said. Could you repeat it? Could you repeat it, Dougie? Did you die here? What happened here? What happened here, Dougie? It sounded like madrigal, but I can't imagine why anybody would say madrigal. Did you say madrigal? Not even sure I know what madrigal means. Tony, look up what madrigal means. Oh, there's no internet, no signal. Not over here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That sounded like a woman. I know the Scots had some fighters with them who were women. bare-chested women covered with woad. Blimey, they've had their moment. Did you fight here? I'm talking to the woman. Did you fight here? What happened to you? What happened to you? I thought that said 40 here.
40 here. I think it's
So you
40
fought here. Did you survive? Ooh. I wish I could make all of this out. It's because of the nature of the gadget, it spits words out, doesn't it?
It needs the white noise one to come through.
I know. You fought here. Were you with Dougie? Or did you know John? How many women fought here at Chillingham? Because the Chillingham women didn't fight, it was the Scots. How many women fought here? Did any women die? Did any women die here?
That sounded like a yes in the back.
It was a yes, I heard the yes. How many women died? There's about 1,400, 1,500 of you. How many women died? How many women died?
That could have been 9.
9. Yes, you said yes.
Yeah.
Whoa! So 9 women died fighting with the Scots.
Yeah.
We got 2 yeses in a row there. How did you die? Was it by arrow? Did you drown?
Oh.
What was that?
That was something else.
Was it by arrow? Or was it by sword? How did you die? By arrow? Did you drown? Was it by sword? Sword.
You mentioned the burn.
Oh, that. Oh.
Another one.
And who are you? Just heard a man speak to us. We're here with respect. Who are you? What happened to you here? What happened to you here? Don't know what that was. Could you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Last chance, we're going to have to move on. Are you glad we're here? Didn't mean that out.
So they sound like jolly.
Jolly. Are you glad we're here? It's tantalising, this whole thing. I mean, last time when we were in Bellingham, we got all kinds of things. We got names. We got exactly what was going on. Sometimes it's easier for you guys at home to make out the things that we hear. And I know 2 or 3 of you make notes of all the words that you can hear clearly and you can go back over them. We don't have that facility here. So, the burn used to be a river. Where does it start? Well, it starts where the bog used to be, but the bog is now a beautiful lake. Now, previously on Night Owls, we've sent our breakfast show team. However, not quite intrepid they were. And here they are, on their way to the lake.
Now, on our right-hand side here, we're just passing four or five big trees, and they've been planted in a bit of a circular position.
Oh, look at that. It looks like the shape of a body that's been carved into the tree.
Yeah,
That's
it does.
horrible.
Apparently in that circle there, Karen, that's where they buried the witches.
Yeah. I'm going to decide that I'm just not believing anything you say. Oh, in fact, now when you look at this angle of that tree, it looks like an open, screaming mouth.
It does. It looks like the Scream mask.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Oh.
Just approaching some gates now, and it's those gates that, again, you would expect to see on a scary movie, you know, with like the pots on either side of the kind of like turrets on the Karen.
Yeah, the kind of gate that if you try to climb over it because you were stuck, you'd get impaled on and die.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh, we shouldn't be walking along here.
Just walking behind the castle now with the
This is
wall.
a definite health and safety issue. Ow.
I just can't wait to get inside to get my hands warmed up.
Oh, they're going to be a sight cold when you dip them in this lake.
What do we have to say again when we put our hand in the lake?
Alan said just about inviting the dead to join me, but I don't like the sound of that.
So, shall I just say, if there's any dead people in there,
Please come and join
please touch me fingers now.
Well, if you want them to touch it, ask them to touch it, but I don't know. Oh, hey, I did not. I
Right.
don't like this bit.
Okay, so we've walked past the back of the castle now. It looks like we're going into some woods now, Karen, doesn't it, to get down to this lake?
There's trees all hanging over where...
Smell that. You can smell the pine. It smells really piney.
I just think nice, happy
Think
thoughts of
Christmas. Yeah, think Christmas. Just without the lights and Santa Claus.
Thing is, I'm thinking, right, there's two of us. We could just one of us do the challenge. But I'm thinking if I just let you do this challenge, I'll have to do a much worse one later. So I'm thinking if it's just dipping your hands in water,
Yeah, that's all
I'll
it
be
is.
cold, but the North Sea's cold and I swam in that every summer as a kid, so surely we can handle it.
Yeah, of course we can. It's just a lake, man. There's nothing in it.
You say that.
You know, I mean, fair enough if there was an alligator in there or something, you know.
I've been on holiday by the way. Alligators, I'm not bothered about them. I'd rather be stroking an alligator than a dead person.
Oh, I can hear an owl. I love owls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're night owls now, Karen.
Oh, yeah. What?
What? There's nothing there. I'm just looking over my shoulder. Calm down, dear. It's only a ghost hunt.
Oh, God. What was that? I think it's just we're kicking pebbles and they're hitting off tree roots and everything, and it sounds like there's much more we're walking down here. Sounds like it could be like the March of the Dead. Not that I'm getting dramatic and frightening myself at all.
Here we go. I can see the bridge and the torchlight there. Looks like quite a big lake, this. I was gonna, what can I compare it with? I mean, it's not like Tynemouth Boating Lake. It's much bigger than that.
Because from where we are, it's quite a way down to the lakeside. Like you couldn't dip your hand in from here.
I would say it's probably about the size of Killingworth Lake. It's about that big, from what we can see.
But you see again, straight out of a horror film, never go across the rickety old bridge that looks like you'll die from it. I mean, why would you go on that? We must be mental being out here in the middle of nowhere, in the pitch black, on a perfectly good night where you could be in the house all cosied up. Why are we doing this?
Because we've come to see some ghosts, Karen.
Oh, hey, again.
Is this where we go?
Horror film, scary
All right.
board left on its own that the dirty, ghosty, maniac people have left. I don't like this.
So we're walking down to the jetty now, Karen, towards the lake.
Just take it slow because this is not exactly the most sturdy path down, is it? Oh, God.
I don't know why you're wearing heels. Don't you wear them on a Friday night?
I'm trying to impress the ghosts. Right, hang on. Oh, God. You got this? Right, I'll shine the torch in front of your feet. You just keep
You know, Karen is right behind me now with her hands on my shoulders. Try not to push me into the lake. No, we're just going to walk down slowly.
Can you hear the nervous laughter?
There's a boat.
Oh,
Have you
God.
seen the boat?
I don't like the boat.
Should I turn the boat over?
What? No, don't bloody turn it
Might be
over.
something underneath.
Just get down here and do the challenge, and then
Yeah.
that's it. I'm slipping. I don't like it.
One of my favourite films of all time is Jaws, and there's a scene where he goes underwater and he turns the boat over.
Oh, well,
A little boat just like that, and there's a head that pops out.
Do you have to make it worse than it is?
Okay, we're getting nearer to the jetty now. You all right?
Not really. No, do I sound all right?
Right. Oh, now we're stuffed if this jet. Oh, hey. Okay, so we've got the torch. I mean, the lake, as I described before, it's a fair-sized lake. It's a fair-sized. There's not much movement at all. As Alan said, it's very still.
I know, but look, there's all like things growing in it, and it looks dirty, and I don't want to put my hand in there.
So we put the hand in
All the
up
way
to
up
our
to the
arm.
shoulder.
Okay, yeah, up to her shoulder. And what do I say?
You have to welcome the dead to come and join you. Or something.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go first.
Right.
Am I going to regret this?
Please, will you just hurry up because I don't like it. You were just building the party.
I'm not. Okay. What do I say again?
Just welcome.
Welcome.
Invite them to join me.
All right. Hands going in. Oh, it's not too cold, actually. Oh.
Come on, then.
If there's any dead people out there, do you fancy joining me tonight on a ghost hunt?
Ah! Don't! That's not fun! You little swine.
Okay, it's your turn. You're going left.
Oh, God, I don't like this at all.
It's actually not too cold, Karen. You'll be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right, isn't it?
Oh, but the thing's growing.
Yeah, you've got to get right down. Go on.
Oh, it's cold enough. If there's any dead
Give
people...
it a splash.
To
prove that we're doing it.
It's like seaweed or something. It's horrible. Oh,
I think
it
it's
is.
the
Oh,
leaf.
what's that? Oh,
There's nothing there.
Right.
Ooh.
If there are any dead people here tonight, please come and join me on this ghost hunt. Thank you, bye.
Night owls from Chillingham Castle, steeped in history with a terrifying past.
Metro Radio.
Alan Robson with you. We walked a little bit further into the witchy wood now, where all of the wood seems to be in bizarre and weird tangles. Some of the trees closest to the main gate, look at them over the fence. In people's gardens too, look at the size of them, look at the girth, because there are some trees here that have been here for close on 600 and 700 years. Some of them, they say, have been here well over 1,500 years, and they're massive, and particularly the ones around the gate, the original trees here. And when you're looking around the witchy wood, watch out for tiny little holes in the trunk around the outside. Not the younger trees, the bigger, heavy, older trees. Because back in the day, pagans, well, were considered witches and wizards. And, of course, if you killed a witch or a wizard, you suffered their death to the power of 10. Well, the Christians believed this absolutely to be true, so they wouldn't kill him. Well, they wouldn't kill him in a way that would rebound on themselves. There's one tree here that looks like it's got 30 or 40 smaller boughs attached to it. That is one of the trees that witches were pinned to. It's a very, very old tree. So why did they pin them to the tree? They pinned them to the tree so that nature would kill the witch, or kill the pagan man. And they pinned them with a wooden spike or a rivet. They essentially nailed them to the tree. Now, back in those days, you had wild boar here, you had wolves, you had bears at one time, but more essentially the creatures of nature, wild dogs, foxes, badgers, bugs laying eggs up your nose, in your ears, in your eyelids. And you'd be allowed to just die. Nobody would feed you, nobody would give you water. If anybody was seen doing that, you'd be pinned to a tree too. And on one occasion, there's the biggest bumblebee I've ever seen in my life. That looked like something from the RAF. Just arrived in my face. I didn't even know they worked at this time of night. However, the witchy wood's full of amazing stories. If you can imagine, people nailed to trees here, not just one or two. At one time, it was said that they had 662. How wonderful would it have been if it had been 666? But the trees that you've got to look for the ones that look like they've got 20 stems coming from the ground. And there's one over there, directly there, just behind the nearest tree to me. We'll try and get some pictures during the day for you to sort these out. We're going to make sure that we've got everything that you need. Absolutely amazing. To my right-hand side, at this time of night, there's a family just leaving. I'm sure they've had an amazing time. They've brought their own caravan as well, but I'm sure they were staying in the apartments. And there they go in a big four-wheel drive thing. And leaving at this time of night, presumably after a damn good meal, and I hope they've enjoyed their time at Chillingham. So, imagine 662 people nailed to trees. Imagine the noise that would make. Imagine the frenzy for wild creatures. Now, you know yourself, if you leave a little bit of meat on the ground, maybe you get a fox in your garden. Maybe you get a hedgehog, maybe you get a badger, maybe you get some wild birds, you'll get a lot of bugs. Imagine if you had 662 pieces of buffet nailed to trees out here. Just how many bugs are going to come to this area? They're going to lay their eggs onto the people. The maggots are going to come out and eat away into their mouths, into their skulls, into their body cavities, if there's any holes, any scratches, any scrapes, that eat away at the wound, until finally that person was dead. Now, the reason I'm coming up a little bit further is if you come through the arch where the original abbey used to be, you'll see this, it's directly opposite the main gate, or the main doors to Chillingham. You'll see just a hint of churchness. And then once you get past that wall, there's nothing left. Because nature took it back. The pagan land wasn't having it. No, we want to be as we were. Just nature doing its thing. And if you look on your right-hand side as you come through the arch, you will see mounds on the ground where the bodies of pagans, because they were not ever going to bury a pagan on consecrated land. This whole area is supposed to be the dead bodies of pagans. And it goes right the way up, because you've got to remember, this used to be on the opposite side of a moat. So this was even higher back in the day, and the moat would go around the top. And the moat had concrete on this side of it. All of that's gone. The abbey, completely gone. And yet, I'm standing here with Richard, because there's also a ley line. If you walk down the path, there's a tree right in the middle of the pathway as you come through. Just go past that, then go past 1, 2, and then you come to 2 trees side by side, Morecambe and Weiss. Here they are, to the left and to the right. In the middle of this is a ley line. Now, back in the old-fashioned days when I used to bring loads of people here, we used to walk them through here. And about 8 out of 10 would go, whoa. It was like somebody walking over your grave. I'm standing in it now and I'm getting a hint of it. Richard, I'm going to stand on that ley line in the Witchwood, 20 feet from where the bodies of the dead are buried. Let's have a go with it.
Ready?
Let's have another try, see if we get anything here. Oh, bit of noise. Don't frustrate us again. Hello, if you can hear us, if you can see us, if we're on your ground.
They said mound.
They just said mound. You're in the mound, you're in the mound. What's your name? What's your name?
Irene.
Irene. Hello, Irene. You were not a Christian. You were not a Christian, Irene. Why did they kill you? Why did they kill you, Irene? Why did they kill you, Irene?
It's the same word twice. A rough old bloke.
I heard a rough old male voice as well in there too. Who are you? Who are you? Didn't get that at all. Dave. David. Are you dead? Where are you? In the Witchy Wood? Are you in the mound? Are you buried in the mound? How did you die?
Something. Fight.
You died in a fight. Were you fighting with the Christians? I just heard the fight word. Were you fighting with the Christians? Did you attack them? Did they attack you? No. So you attacked them? Female voice there. Is that you, Irene? How do you feel that we are here looking for you? We want you to have your say. What has it been like for you being here on Chillingham? Good. Good. Really? It's gone. I know it's gone. I know you've gone too. But it was good. Was it good when you were living here before they built the castle and took your lives? Is that what you mean? Tell us, we need to know. Was it good before the castle?
That's that same voice again, mumbling away.
We got a mumbling man on here, and occasionally we've had some just strangeness that comes on. As I say, you might be able to work them out better at home. Is there anything you want to say to us? Yes. What? I hear that man again. What is it that you want to say? Tell us about this place. We're in the woods, down from the castle where the bodies are. Tell us about this place. Tell us about this place. Didn't get it.
I think you just said turn around.
Turn around. We have turned around. Is that where you are? Are you behind us? You're behind us in the dark. We can't see very much in between the trees. There's mounds all over this witchy wood. That's why it's known for what it is. There's another mound about 50 feet ahead of us on the left-hand side. That's where you are. So that's where you are, in that mound.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. It's wonderful talking to you. Is there anything else you want to say to us? Thank you for talking to us. Who is the man who has spoken 3 or 4 times now, but we can't make him out? Didn't know. Can he talk? Is there something stopping him from talking? Fire. Now, one of the tortures here was to burn people's tongues with fire so that they couldn't talk, because it also clues, if you cut them with a knife, they could die. If you burnt the tongue off, it closed the wound. Did you have your tongue burnt? Well, he's not saying yes or no because he can't talk. We're just getting grunts. And then a woman's voice just said, you see? Did he lose his tongue? It was. I'm getting a piece of heavy breathing. Breathing. It was breathing. I heard the breathing. Thanks for telling me. Bless. Well, you're welcome. Are you glad that we've come to give you a chance to talk? Everyone wants to hear what you have to say. They're listening all over the world to you now. Is there anything you want them to know? Yes? What is it? Tell us. I know how hard it is to communicate. You have to go. Yes. I have to go. Yes, that's not the gruff guy. There's another guy there too. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? We're leaving now. Last chance. Be heard across the centuries.
He said often.
Often. Yes, often. Well, we should come back more often. Is that what you mean? We come here quite a lot. We'll have to come and see you more often. Yes. Thank you. We're going to move on now. Move on. Unbelievable. Okay, do what it says. Crack on. Hell's teeth. Anyway, we are moving. We are heading towards the castle now. Britain's most listened to, the Night House. My goodness. We've had a few bits and pieces in an amazing place. When you're here, it's so easy just to be superficial. Oh, there's some old stuff there, there's some old stuff here. This is a living and dying castle. The amount of death on the ground here was incredible. And now the castle has been reborn under Sir Humphrey. And more people get a chance to realise just how horrific and primitive it was back in the day. We're actually on the Witchy Mound now, and love and respect to anybody that's buried down here. And it may not be sacred ground, but Northumberland is sacred to me and sacred to a lot of people. The Great North. So many places where bodies are that have never got a cross upon them or never had anything to show that a life's been here. And it's tragic. We're heading into the castle. We have more, hopefully, dead people to talk to.
Alan Robson goes back into the darkness at Chillingham Castle to talk to the dead.
Metro Radio.
Yeah, summoning the dead. As you can tell from the echo, I'm now in the main open area in the centre of Chillingham Castle. This used to be the front of the castle before they put an extra front with apartments on it. This used to be the actual front of the castle. And you can see the various figurines that a lot of people say, oh, they must have been the heroes of Chillingham who fought off the Scots. A lot of them actually are Scottish clan chiefs. A lot of them are wearing kilts, as you can see, because they said they were so brave. They deserve to be remembered even in death. And as you walk through, there's cannons in the front. This, of course, is a place, this area here, remembering this was at the front of the castle. This whole area that is now paved used to be where they burned to death living Scots. Scottish clan chiefs were burnt here. When they had bonfires here, from some of the tower windows, people were hurled out of the castle onto the bonfire. And then we come to 3 small steps. Then there's a tiny little step, and you're here. And first of all, you've got to undo the chain, and then climb up, passing a door on your left-hand side, and then you come straight in. This time of night, you've got to be a bit wary of where you're walking, because there are things on the floor. And as you go through here to your left-hand side, here is the incredible Great Hall. For those of you that have been here before, it's the room with the long table. It's the room with a knight on the back of a horse overlooking the whole thing. An incredible place to be. Now, as you walk around, there's artefacts from all over the world, but at this time of night, well, you can't see too much, it has to be said. So what used to go on here? Well, this was the place that is known for betrayal. This is the place where people would come and be judged. As the table's set out now, you can see there is like a baronial chair in the middle. I'm sure that would be Sir Humphrey's chair if he was having his supper here. But a big chair right in the middle. And people would come here from small villages to have any disagreements that they have judged upon. And whatever the rulers of Chillingham said, that's exactly what would happen. Also, directly at the end, there's a chair up against the wall next to the tapestries. That's the haunted chair. It's said that if you sit on that chair, sometimes ghosts will sit in the chair at the same time. And when you get your pictures taken, you can see the outline of the spirit in the chair. It's at the opposite end to the knight on horseback. There's a lot of freaky things in here, like armour for an elephant, an Indian elephant. There's spears of every kind. There's a crossbow here lying on the table. Amazing. There are horns that would be played by the Arabs. There's spears used in the Crusades with the red and white piping upon it. There's the old doors. Some of the old doors are here with the metal locks to make sure that the place stays sound. Signs of the last 100 years, croquet mallets, archery discs, and ram's heads, creatures that have been wiped out, manacles that used to have people's arms and feet in them. And in all directions, there it is, there is the haunted chair. My goodness, they've put, on purpose, they've put the skull of a deer on it to stop people sitting on it. And yet it's here, this very chair. If you sit on it, it's said that you'll take the image of someone who died here, someone who was judged here. There's another chair at the opposite side, that's got a skull on it too, and a fireplace here with kukris attached to it and the elephant's head above it. There's also more skulls, more hunting trophies, and again, three-pronged spear, another fighting weapon, like a pike. All of these things were used, many of them against the Scots. Some of them are from foreign battles and foreign wars that were captured from the opposition. On the table, there's a helmet here, actually a real helmet that was used back in the day, a huge fighting sword from Arabia on the table too, hammers, cudgels, all kinds of different implements that could easily cause the death of somebody. But here in the Great Hall, we've had an awful lot of experiences. Lots of people have seen things here. I remember seeing a dark shape hiding roughly where I'm sitting right now. When I was sitting in the ghost seat, pitch black in here, then all of a sudden something moved out the corner of your eye. And I always describe this as the blackness that moves. And this is the place. This is the place where the judgments were given. Now, you can say this is the place where it was the most unfair, because sometimes children would steal things and they would be dragged here aged 6, 7, 8 and 9 for stealing some bread or stealing somebody's clothes that they were washing down by the river. And that child might have lost their life through it. If it was a rich kid, certainly wouldn't. If it was just a poor kid, they may well have died. Or, in some cases, they were taken into service by the castle and turned into a soldier, and they lost the whole rest of their lives. It's an incredible place. Even the lights above are made of the antlers of creatures that have died. Richard's walking around. What is that you're waving? And before you jump to conclusions, let the man answer. What's that you're waving about?
This is my new electroscope which I've designed, and it's working well. Look what's in front of you.
There is, oh my goodness, when you move this thing in front of you, it goes from dark grey to bright white. So there's somebody here, patently here then.
Yep, that's your presence indicator.
Right. Now, the other thing that we wanted to talk to you about, we're going to come back to that ghost, hopefully in a moment, because there's one other place that I just wanted to show you from here, if we can get into it. Let's see if we can. We may not. Let's give it a try. Yes, it's through here. Yeah. You open a door, and we move through the chapel. I know we're coming back to the chapel, but you come down here, and you take 3 or 4 steps. If you're a little bit self-conscious about height, be careful, because through the floorboards you can see down about 10, 15 feet. And we are, at the present moment, overlooking what Chillingham now use as the tea room, where there is a stag's head. And a lot of people think that stag's head isn't real, but it is real. It's prehistoric elk, and it's immense. It's millions of years old, that thing. There's turtles, there's bats in here, there's all kinds of other accoutrements, loads more weaponry, and we are on a thing called the Minstrels Gallery. Now, the amount of people that see things moving on the Minstrels Gallery, especially this on the left-hand side, a lot of people say that they see things, and it wouldn't really surprise me in a place like this, but people overlooking when you're having a cup of tea, those kind of things, you take a glance up and it's almost as if somebody is walking around. There's 2 huge chandeliers hanging in here on metal cords. Ooh, hang on, was that you, Tony?
Well, I'm over here.
I know.
That was in the corner somewhere.
It's that corner that I told you things sometimes happen in. There's an old harp on the opposite side, stairs that go down into the tea room if you need a coffee during your visit here. Always make a point of looking up at the Minstrels Gallery. It was said that a young girl was hanged up here for the sport of the Lord of Chillingham Castle. A young girl hanged for sport. So, is that chandelier moving? Look at that chandelier. Is it moving? Oh, blimey, I'm going to have to go down. Oh, got to be careful in the dark, because it's so easy to come a cropper. I'm standing directly beneath the chandelier now, and it's moving just ever so slightly. Let's see if the other one is too, or is this just a trick of the eye? No, that one just. Can you see it moving or not? This one here.
I think so.
Bizarre. We're standing next to a beautiful hot fire with cinders spitting out in all directions. Beautiful. And that's the old fire that used to be here all those years ago, where they would cook a wild boar, or they'd cook deer, all that kind of thing. Absolutely amazing. So, what's going on in this place? We've got a situation where huge antlers. That one's moving now. Can you make it out now?
Yes, definitely.
It's definitely moving. It's actually turning in a circle. Isn't it? Is it turning?
Rocking.
It's rocking from side to side. Just walk past it. And the one that was moving has stopped, but the other one is actually, oh, and that was so wild. Just seen a huge, like, orb or something going up the chimney. Now, some sparks are doing that. So I don't know whether that's just an anomaly of the eye, but that is very, very cool indeed. Anyway, let's get back up the top, and we have stories to tell of this neck of the woods. And also, I think it's time we tried to talk to some people from the Great Hall. Let's give that a go. I see what you mean. That is actually moving more than you would think, you know. Do you see how much it's shaking from side to side? Wow. Oh, watch your head. Hollywood's here. And then we go back into the Great Hall, where Richard's waiting with his box. Okay, Richard, let's give this a try. If we can. Do it over. I'll sit in the Lord's seat.
I think it's broken, the Lord's seat, there's tapes over it.
I'll sit next to the Lord's seat. Leather chairs. Next to the helmet. And next to that huge killing sword from, it looks like it's from Turkey or Turkestan or one of those places. Huge farming tools here that some of the locals would have used to stave off people back in the day. They'd fight with anything they had to protect their proud Chillingham land. Right, this is the place of betrayal. This is a place where good and honest and decent people came seeking justice, and they got quite often anything but.
Turn down the lights if you dare. Hear every step we take around Chillingham Castle. Only on Night Owls.
Metro Radio.
Let's see if there's anyone here. Let's do it, Rich. Is there anyone here? Do you live here in the Great Hall? Is there anyone here? We saw a white light following us before. Is that you? Got something there. Are you following us? You are following us. A female voice there. I thought it said yes. I don't know about you. Did you die here? So many people did. Did you die? Did you die here? I missed that. Not so bad. So are you living here? We got ones who said it wasn't so bad here. We got a woman here who's not quite as convinced. To the woman, shut it off. Getting voices.
What on earth?
We heard voices there. Let's see if we can go back to it again. We got some voices there. I don't know whether you heard them, but probably we'll get actual voices in the room at the time we're trying to use our fancy new gadget. Is there anything you want to say to us? Nothing. Why? We'd like to talk to you. We'd like to talk to you. Too bad. Nothing. Too bad. Would you like to say anything to us?
Can I help?
Yes, you can help. Tell us what happened here. What happened to you? Withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
Either withdrawn or with John. Are you with John? We spoke to John earlier. Did you live here at the castle? Did you live here at the castle? You didn't. Did you die here at the castle?
You did.
He did. How did you... Listen. How did you die? And your father died too. Could have said torture. Oh, because it's kind of like torture. Were you tortured here? Didn't make it out and it's driving me crazy. Stay with us. How did you die here? How did you die here? Do you want to talk to us? How did you die? What caused you to pass? You don't know. Doesn't help me. Just a little girl's voice there. Don't know whether just to leave it and not say anything. How did you die here? Or what did you do here? What did you do here? I heard that. And then the girl said, always. He says, in trouble, always. In trouble for what? Because this is the place where people were judged. In trouble for what? We're listening to you. In trouble for what? First word sounded like grab. Something grab. I didn't catch the second piece. Were you stealing things? Is that why you were in trouble, for stealing? Or were you in trouble because you weren't Christian? What? Ripped up. Ripped up. Ripped up. What do you mean by that? Were you hurt here? Did they torture you here? Did they torture you here? You suppose they tortured you. What kind of things did they do? Getting that. What sort of things did they do? What sort of things did they do to you? Didn't make it out. If you guys at home are getting this, make sure you let us know once we get back. And don't forget... Fine. Can you help us? How were people tortured here? How were people tortured here? Say again? That's a good shout. So that's to the chamber. Is John Sage there? Is John Sage there? Come on. Is that you, John? Well, we got John before. I didn't... the gadget's working on the opposite side as well. There's a big red light happened. John, is that you? Red light's flashing here to tell us that we're in the presence of something. We were told John earlier on, it never crossed my mind, John Sage. Is that you, John? It is. People say you were a monster. Were you? People say you were a monster, say that you hurt a lot of people. How do you know? We know because people told of it. They say you were hanged by a tree here. On the Devil's Mail, were you? You heard a yes or no? Sometimes when you're talking you don't pick it up. You were hanging on that tree at the end of the Devil's Mail. So you were a monster. enjoyed hurting people. That's how you're known. If that's not who you are, tell us. Not bad. Yes. So you're not bad. So who killed all these people then? If you weren't bad, I know they stabbed you in the leg, making you drag your foot along. That's no reason to kill innocent people, is it? Crying girl. Crying girl. You see, I heard you say that, John, but you can't defend the fact you've hurt a lot of innocent people and they're still here. Do you care? Do you care? Come on, John. You're very loud before. You've gone quiet because we knew you were a monster. You say you're not bad. She differs with you. You're a murderer and a monster. That's how you'll always be known unless you speak to us. If that girl is there, what did he do to you? That's like blood. What did he do to you, to the girl? Not you, John. Or did you like seeing blood, John? Is it blood that you like? Ah. Of course. So you love making people bleed. John, we're going to stay here till we get an answer. How do you want people to remember you? No thanks. No thanks. Chatting away. Let's just see what if he says anything else. You don't care what we say. We're going into your torture chamber soon. We're going into the Yeah, we're going into your torture. That's kind of... You don't want us to go into there. You don't want us to go in your chamber. Last chance, John. Please don't. Please don't. Why? If we go in, will he hurt you? Heard John again there. Will he hurt you if we go? Yeah, you know what they call you, John? You know what they called you behind your back? They called you Dragfoot. It is. We're going into your torture chamber, John. You can't stop us, can you? All right, that's where we're heading. We're going to take a quick break. Thanks, John. Last chance. Bye, John. Something there. We're going to come back after the break. Where are we going to go next? Keep it here. Alan Robson with you, live from Chillingham Castle. Into the dark stories, into the dark places, and the blind terror.
The rampart
The REM pods flying. Now, explain what that is, because it's bright red, fiery glow in the distance.
Yeah, the bright red is just the yawn, but it's the piping noise that you hear, which is measuring the minute. If it's a blue flashing light, the temperature is crashing at that end of the room. It's a blue flashing light. Okay, well, that's triggering a vast temperature drop all by itself.
Is that you, John? Are you with us? In the room now, talk to us. Give us a sign, show something.
There you go.
Can you hear that? I don't know whether you guys at home can hear that. We can hear it in here. It's a high-pitched peeping noise. Make yourself known. It's firing in all directions at the present moment. Is that you, John? Oh, yeah. Sustained notice, there's something here.
Very cold sustained notice.
It's cold here. Can you feel the temperature drop change?
The blue light means the temperature's on the way down.
It's crashing. I can feel it now. It's like I'm wishing I'd put long sleeves on. Looks like we've got John Sage, the torturer, talking to us, being with us in the castle where he did all kinds of things. And he's gone. Britain's most listened to. He's back. Alan Robson from the place that will always surprise you. Chillingham Castle.
Night owls from Chillingham Castle. Steeped in history with a terrifying past.
Metro Radio.
Now, Mark's with us at the present moment. Mark, of course, is the man who's in control of Chillingham and always lets us loose. Thank you kindly for that. You've just heard us talking in a bizarre fashion. We don't know how real it is. We don't know whether it was them. But it's fascinating, isn't it?
Absolutely fascinating, Alan. And, you know, that's the wonder of Chillingham. You get these really, really positive reactions here. That's what people love, and that's why people keep coming back.
No, for absolute certainty. Now, last time we were here, or last time our breakfast show team came down here, they got a bit more than they bargained for.
Courtyard as you walk through, and literally this could be in any horror film you've ever seen in your life. It's like got these stone stairs outside, there look some creepy things around the windows, and apparently it's really bad where I'm going.
Yeah. You're going to the Great Hall, which is actually there.
Oh, I've got to go up them creepy stairs.
No, you go creepier stairs actually.
Oh, great.
When you're in there, there's a few things about, including some really nasty tarot cards. Don't touch them.
Right.
There's a few other bits and pieces in there. Get us sat at the chair at the very top on the left-hand side. The reason is that's the chair that the people keep photographing ghosts in.
Oh, God.
Opposite the horseman.
Opposite the horseman.
And the chair on the right-hand side. People take photos of that chair.
Yeah.
And about 3 out of every 10, you see like a mist or a...
So I'm going to be sitting on a ghost's knee. This is not a good idea, is it?
Or vice versa.
Oh, don't. Oh, God.
Vice versa. Off you go.
Right. Okay. So these tarot cards, they were wrapped up and put in there, and then what happened?
They were wrapped up after Ellen of the Witch's room got possessed using them.
Oh, hey, man. But is that another whole thing? You're not supposed to mess around with dead people. You should just leave them be. We're in here bothering them, asking them to join them. But they might just want left alone.
Go on then.
Is this the Great Hall here?
This is the Great Hall.
Oh my God.
Very careful.
It's like got the world's heaviest door. I can't even push it any more open than that.
It's huge.
Oh my God, I can't see a thing.
We'll just get the eye accustomed.
Okay. I just need to sign this a chapel.
There's a chapel.
Right, and what's that? Oh my God. It's like a massive stone room. And there are all kinds of, oh my God, what look like implements of torture standing up around the room. Like, I don't even know the proper names of them, spears and big long spikes. And there's like a massive bench dining table in the middle, which must fit about 50 or 60 people around it. And I can hear a funny fluttering noise. Is that bats?
Let's have a listen. Incidentally, this is where I saw the ghost on Monday.
Don't.
Right, what on earth was that?
Was that something that flashed up in the top right corner? That wasn't off your camera? I thought it was off your camera.
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I was pointing at that. I might have caught something. Okay.
I thought it was a flash of your camera.
No, it's not the flash of the camera. Right then. We've got all sorts of objects.
What was that? I don't like it in here at all.
We've got the table here. There. They're wrapped still in the tartan hanky.
Is that the tarot cards?
Yeah, the tarot cards.
Alan told us not to touch them. I'm not touching them.
Right, they are there.
There's no way I'm touching them.
That's the most active set. It's a half arcana set of tarot cards.
I don't know anything about tarot cards. I've never even had my tarot cards read, but I don't particularly want to get them read either.
Okay, so
what's that? Oh God. I just keep thinking there are things because there's so many weird things like stags' heads on walls and kind of ornaments and stuff that I'm seeing shadows where there aren't any, I'm sure. And where does Alan want us to sit? Oh God, so it's like a really ornate, creepy kind of throne-like chair.
Okay, now I'm going to leave you.
Oh no, I don't think I can.
I'm going to leave you now.
All right. Oh, what's that? Hang on! Turn your light back that way. Oh God, it's just a shadow.
Wrong seat.
Wrong seat.
It's that one.
Oh well. It's that. What is that up there? Oh God.
And it might be him that comes to visit you. That's where you sit.
Right.
This is the place where they used to give out all the judgments to people. There's a horse and rider at the bottom, weapons of all kinds. No way in for us, because that's to his private apartments. We can't go through there. We'll come and get you.
How long?
20 minutes.
That lot on my own?
Yeah. Out you go, please. Good luck.
Thank you. I'm not going to last 2 minutes.
Okay.
What happens if I need out though? Like really need out now?
Shout, Alan, I'll be with you as quick as I can.
Right, okay.
I'll be literally at the, you know where the office is?
It's bloody miles away.
Good luck.
Thank you. Oh my God, it really is pitch black.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they've shut the door that I didn't think shut. I'm going to have to try and stay calm. Not easy. Oh, come on, deep breaths, Karen, you're fine. It's like there's an archway over to my left, which I think must have been like an old fireplace. But it feels like there's kind of like light coming through it. If that makes any sense, I don't think it does. I'm just trying to get my eyes to adjust to the dark, but I don't know whether it's better just to not let them adjust so I can't see anything, because I don't particularly want to see anything. Oh my God, I can see something. It's like light, just like the opposite of a shadow, like a light, but not like a little dot of light, like just an area, like a patch of light. Oh, I don't like it. Maybe if I just like tap dance a bit and take deep breaths so I can't hear anything, that would be much better. Or maybe not. I really don't like it. I've never been in such pitch black in my entire life, not on my own. Wonder if I should hide from them when they come back, like hide under the table and jump out on them. Maybe not. It's literally so dark I can't even see my hand in front of my face. Oh God, I keep hearing a bang, but I think it's like elsewhere in the castle, so I don't think it's anything to do with me. I don't think. honestly, I don't know whether, because I've always been quite sceptical and cynical, whether if there were ghosts here, would they prefer it if you were like balls out, oh, I'm not really bothered, are they more likely to want to show themselves, or if I just calm down and try and stay cool for 20 minutes, will I be alright? I honestly don't know the best way to play it. But all of a sudden I'm getting absolutely freezing. Oh, that's not funny. Like I was already cold, and I've got gloves on, I've got a cardigan on, I've got a coat on, I've got a scarf on, I've got gloves on, I've got Richard's woolly hat on, and I've gone absolutely freezing. Like so freezing, I don't know whether you just heard my knees crack. It was that cold. Oh, shit. Oh God. I'm not sure how much longer I can stay here on my own. Oh, I think I saw something out the corner of my eye. Ah! Help, Alan! Help! Alan! Someone come and get us now! Quickly, someone come and get us! Please! Alan, come and get us, seriously! Will you come and get us, please? You, please, will you hurry up and come and get us? It's not funny. Get us, get us, get us. Oh. I went absolutely freezing.
What's happened?
I went absolutely freezing. I thought I was fine, and then I saw something, like you said, out of the corner of my eye.
Right.
And I tried not to look at it, and then everything rattled, or something rattled on the table, and that was it. And that's when I
no, hang on.
really completely lost
Stand
it.
up, come with me.
And I haven't moved. I stayed exactly where I was.
Right. Something rattled.
Yes, I heard the rattle.
What could it be?
I don't know.
Are you alright?
No, I'm absolutely bloody terrified.
What's on the table that rattle?
No, it was like as if, you know, I don't know, well, just metal rattle.
Well, there's plenty of metal on it.
But not like that, like... Oh, no. Yes, like that. Not funny. Oh, my God.
But look, if that's there, what's going to make that rattle?
But it wasn't like rattling on wood, it was more like it rattled on metal.
Oh.
But not as clanky as that, more like, you know, candlesticks shaking, that's what I imagined.
Well,
but they're not like that, are they?
Well, they're candlesticks. Can you do them a few minutes in here?
Nah, not on my own. Not in here, I don't think so. Honestly, I was just talking myself through saying I should just stay calm, and then I went absolutely freezing to the point where my knees cracked, it was that cold, and that's when it happened.
And it was on the table though?
Well, I'm guessing, I don't know.
Alan Robson with you. At the present moment, I'm in the chapel. Now, just have to tell you one of the stories about the Devil's Mail. We heard me talking earlier too, we think maybe John Sage, the torturer here, and how he was hanged from one of the trees. He was having sex with the daughter of a border reaver on the torture chamber's rack, trying to get extreme asphyxia, that kind of kinky sex that sensible people don't try, and she died, and the border reavers were going to kick off another war with Scotland. So Sage's friend, King Edward I Longshanks, ordered that he was hanged by the neck until he was dead, and the people cut souvenirs from Sage. They cut off his testicles, they cut off his fingers, his tongue. Some of them got his ears as souvenirs. And it was appropriate that it happened on the Devil's Mail, because when you look from the main gate, not where you drive in from, but the main gate, right the way along, it's exactly 1 mile to the main door of the castle. And when Sage was ordered by the king to release any prisoners that were still here, Sage didn't want to do it, actually argued with the king. But the king says, no, you will release them, and you'll release them now. Now, that being the case, Sage got on his cart and he went round to all of the villages around here, chatting, Chillingham itself, right the way along all the small villages in the vicinity, all the way up to Belford, all the way down as far as Alnwick. And he said, you know, all those Scottish people that have been marauding and killing and raping and mutilating, I'm going to set them free this weekend, 3 o'clock. If you want to see them off, be there for 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that Saturday afternoon, the remnant, oh blimey, there's a huge thumping noise coming from the ceiling there, and there's nothing up there other than tower. Don't know what the hell that was. Don't know whether you heard it or not. However, the people were released, wounded, some of them blinded, some of them crippled. There was about 300 of them, and they walked up the Devil's Mail, either side of the Devil's Mail, loaded full of people with bows and arrows, rocks to throw, scythes, swords, axes, and all 300 were cut to pieces. And they allowed the bodies to stay on the ground and rot. And carts coming to the castle drove over them, breaking down the bodies even more, to the point that even nowadays it's not unknown for people walking the Devil's Mail to look down and see a human fingernail or the bone from a finger or thumb. The bodies were just left there. So why are we in the chapel? Well, this was added to the castle again to try and bring God to Chillingham. There's pictures of saints, there's vestments, there's statues of saints. There's one of the rather more bizarre Jesus figures. And yet when you come in here, you always feel, especially when it's this late at night and it's this black, you always feel that there's somebody sitting beside you. There's somebody brushing their hands through your hair. It's freezing in here. We've got the gadget. It doesn't tell us that it's freezing, but it's cold. People used to come here and beg for forgiveness. And the priest will say, "You are forgiven in the eyes of God." And the people would come out of here thinking, "Oh, I'm free, I can go home. I've confessed my sins." And the priest would say, "Oh, you're forgiven in the eyes of God, but you're not forgiven in the eyes of the Lord of the castle, who's now going to cut your hands off, or who's now going to hang you, or burn you, or take you into that torture chamber and show you what some of the gadgets are good for." Richard has just arrived. Not a peep out of that, but it feels actually colder than it was in the last room. But the gadget's sitting there. There's a bit of a red light on it. And we're now going to see if we can get anybody here in the church, because we talk about hypocrisy from the room next door. This is the room of greater hypocrisy. It's where Christian priests gave people hope. And then when they left the building full of hope, thinking they were going to live, they were taken to the torture chamber to be utterly destroyed. Press a button, let's see what we get here. You got to remember, John Sage is all over this castle. Yeah, he's already there. John Sage was outside in the grounds. We got a John very early. Who else is there? Is there anyone else? We're in the chapel now. Beth. Hi, Beth. What? You said something and then has to come. What happened to you, Beth? What happened to you, Beth? Did you live here? Or yes. Did you lived here? Were you very rich? Yes. People say that you were evil to the pagans. Is this true? You didn't like the pagans? Why did you not like people who were not Christian? Oh, male voice there. Didn't. You didn't. I know you didn't. Did you feel you had to kill them? You don't. You didn't kill them, but you had somebody here, John Sage, that did. Did you watch? Did you see them being tortured? Did you enjoy seeing them tortured? Did you enjoy seeing them tortured? Tell me.
Hello.
Hello. Who are you? Arthur. Hello, Arthur. Good to meet you. Did you live here too? Did you live here like Beth? Did you die here? I'm dead. I know you're dead. Yes, you are dead. Do you not know that you're dead? You're blind. Did they blind you here? Did they blind you here? I know you're blind. Who did it to you? That sounded like somebody else saying, shut him up. So you were blinded, Arthur. Is someone trying to keep you quiet? Michael, hello Michael. You sounded very young. How old were you? 8. Did you die when you were 8?
Not the boy that was rolled up, is it?
Oh, that's interesting. Now, one of the famous ghosts here, and I'm just heard another major noise from up above here. Yeah. Were you walled up in the chimney here? Yes, the chimney. We've seen the claw marks in the chimney. I've climbed up that chimney too. It must have been horrible. You found out about the Armada in Spain, and they found out that they were going to ally themselves to Spain, apparently. Is that you?
That could have been Armada.
Armada, yeah, could have been. You found out about the Armada. You didn't get a chance to tell anyone. They caught you. Are you the boy they walled up? Are you the blue boy? I heard the yes. So you're the... Yes, so you are the blue boy. Yes. How long did it take you to die in that being walled up? How long did it take you to die? I heard a woman's voice there. Don't know what she's... Don't know how long it took you. You lost your fingernails. I bet that really hurt. I'm sorry for your pain. Do you want to talk to us? I heard that. Who are you? What's your name? Female voice. Female voice, who are you? Is that Beth again? There's a lot of you here. Sorry?
Eleanor, just dead in the corner. Buried in the corner.
Eleanor. Is that you, Eleanor? Or is Eleanor there? We're in the room where you're buried. Are you there, Eleanor? We pay you tribute, Eleanor. We're here with love. Do you want to say anything? Nothing. Oh. What did you say? That was John. What did you say, John?
It's going off. We said John.
Yes. John, you're setting off our gadgets. It is you again.
Temperatures on the crash, John.
You're into everything here, aren't you, John? People are still terrified of you, even in death. Good. We're heading to whatever. We're heading.
I think you just said a nasty word again there.
Have I just been told to?
No, I think it was a parentage doubt.
What was it?
A parentage doubt.
Oh, I've just been called a bastard by John Sage.
Yay.
A few people have called me that over the years. Well, John, we're going to your torture chamber real soon. It's the Night Owls.
Was that a warning?
It was a warning. We'll see, will we? All right, try and stop me then, if you can. Things are getting interesting. It's the Night Owls on the big one in the pitch black. What's going to happen next? Alan Robson with you, and I've just for a split second walked back into the Great Hall because I'm heading down to the torture chamber. However, whilst we were in the chapel, which is just down half a dozen stairs, Mark, who spends most of his time here in the castle at one time or another, and you were with Richard, and something peculiar has just happened. What was that?
Yes, Alan. Richard's equipment bag, there's a yellow piece of plastic here.
Yeah.
And I was sitting a couple of yards away, and all of a sudden the plastic lifted up about 4 or 5 inches. And we came over to stand and have a look and see what was going on, and we got a real chill around us.
Right. So we are actively being followed. Now we're going down to the torture chamber. No idea what's going to happen there. Thank you, Mark. And we are kicking stuff off, that's for sure. Right. Oh, I love Scooby-Doo doors. There's the first one.
Spiral staircase as well.
It is spiral staircase up to the tower, down to the torture chamber. Watch your step, Richard. Also, there's the we've been chained in. I really wouldn't have wanted to be anybody chained in this place back in the day. That's for absolute certainty. Make your way through, and I will. And here we are. Huge. Oh, thanks, Richard. Right in me backside. Probably deserved it. And there is a couple of old carriages outside the torture chamber and old stocks that people can get their heads in. What they didn't tell you about stocks, you know, and this is the interesting thing, they got the wooden platform, and then, of course, you stick your head in the top and your arms in the sides, and you are, to all intents and purposes, completely trapped. What they don't tell you is that while you're stuck with your head in here and your bum's up in the air, if anybody wanted to take sexual advantage of you and you were in the stocks, nobody would bother them, nobody would stop them. It was part of your punishment. And as you go through here, as you can tell, we are heading into the torture chamber. And this is the main door. And as soon as you get in, manacles attached to every surface. And just to tell the story of what people did here, torture, funnily enough, over the years has become a bit of a speciality of mine. I've travelled around the world, and I did a short lecture tour in America on torture, British torture, and what people used to do. And if ever there was a tool that demonstrates it, it's Chillingham Castle. if you go into the castle, even if you take a recording of this, to your right-hand side, there's a cage with a human skeleton in it. They would put a person in there, and you can see how tight it is around the neck. And they'd just not feed or water you, and eventually you would turn into a skeleton. There's chairs with hand grips on there, and the hand grips were so that when people were being tortured, they had something to keep a grip of. There's also a fly just flown into the light bulb that's above a man who's been staked. Now, people were being staked in this part of the world before Vlad Dracul the Impaler did his thing. And what they used to do, this particular stake has a spike at the top, but they didn't put spikes on the top. The impalers, you'd be on a blunt end, and they'd stick it in your anus, and they'd balance you on the top of it, and slowly but surely gravity would force that thing inside you, and it would get higher and higher and higher until eventually it would burst out somewhere around your throat. Terrible way to die. There's a cage at the back where they used to just put people and leave them, and they'd never come and rescue them at any time. They'd just leave them there and let the ooze from all of the bodily fluids run out of the building, feeding the grass outside. There's a wheel here with nails on it. They would nail you to it, and they would roll the wheel, and that would impale you even further. And it said that so many of your internal organs were punctured by the time you'd been round on a cut. Did you hear that? I just heard some noise coming from directly behind us. Moving across on the floor, a man trap big enough for a bear, and another cage where they'll put somebody in, and they'd hang them in places like market squares, and people would try and feed them and keep them going longer. And on one occasion there was a story from Alnwick, not too far from here, where somebody in a cage fell asleep with his leg hanging out the bottom of one of these cages, and a dog came and pulled his foot off. Lovely. Next to that, we've got a screw. Now, have you heard the term oppressing? Not oppressing, ear pressing. They would put you underneath a piece of wood, and then they would bring down a screw with a huge wooden weight on the top of it, and essentially it would smash your ribs, it would smash your spine, it would flatten you. We also have this, looking very like Queen Elizabeth I. It is, in fact, an Iron Maiden. And if you actually go inside, and I'm not going to go all the way, if I shut this in on myself, and I'm inside it now, and directly in front of my eyes, there's about 8 spikes, 6 to 8 inches long. Above me, there's more for the back of your head. There's another lot around your stomach to open your stomach so that your viscera pour out. And further down, oh hell's bells, round about where Big Willie and the twins are situated, there's another set of spikes, so I'm going to get out of there. But Iron Maidens, very rare to find a one that's in the kind of condition that this is. And if Queen Elizabeth I's breasts really were where the breasts on this one is, it's no wonder she was called the Virgin Queen. So, we got some more weights, some more tackle, some more things for people to do to you. There was an amazing torture from this part of the world that isn't actually on exhibition here, but I can tell you about it. What they used to do was they would essentially hang you up from a rope from the ceiling, pretty much. They'd winch you up, and then they'd put a weight on one of your arms. Now, we're talking a weight of about 2 to 3 stone, and slowly but surely that would pull your arm out your socket. And then because it's so heavy, slowly but surely it would stretch your skin, make your muscles explode, and then your arm would come off. Then they'd move that to your next arm. Then they'd get a heavier one. Our gadgets firing. We got a few ghostly gadgets in here and they're going off. So then they'd put them onto your legs, and then they'd put them onto your other leg. So eventually you're just a torso hanging there, bleeding to death. They've got a headsman's block, and of course the headsman's axe. Here too, a basket to catch the head. This, I love this. I wouldn't have loved it if I was put in it. I like a hot bath, you see, and they've got a huge cauldron here, and on top of the cauldron they've got a zigzag, so people could probably get their heads through the hole here, but they couldn't get much out, arms, legs, couldn't get much out. The body had to stay in, and they'd fill this to the top with water. Then they'd put a fire on underneath it, and they would literally cook the skin off your bones. They would cook your skin. That food would go to the dogs or the poor, whoever wanted it, and it would take you hours to die, boiled to death, and you couldn't get out because of this mishmash on the top. Small gadgets here for breaking all of your fingers, and various gadgets for poking into your body. Presses in all directions. There's a whole host of tools again for cutting, sewing. Look at that. Blimey, you wouldn't want that up here, would you? And there is another one of my favourites, a seat here with spikes on it. And why is it here with all the spikes on it? Well, you know when you're cutting a joint of meat on a Sunday and you put that joint on your board with the spikes so that you can carve it? Well, they would stick you on that seat and they'd start carving away at you. Here, this is me on the rack. And this is where they stretched human bodies. That must be a hell of a thing. And again, dislocation, feet coming off, hands coming off, bleeding to death. They got another thing to boil you on, another one of those long tables with spikes coming up that they would impale you on with manacles on either side so that they could carve into your body. They've got a barrel at one side. Now, occasionally, this didn't used to be a terminal one. This guy here used to be something that gave people a chance. Now, it's a barrel, and inside the barrel, there's about 500 nails knocked into the barrel, so that in all directions, there's a nail sticking to impale you. And what would happen is, if somebody had been sentenced to death, they were given the chance to be barreled. Now, what does this mean? You're taken to the top of a hill, you're put in a barrel, the barrel lid's put on. Now remember, there's 500 spikes, the full length of the barrel. Then they roll you off a hill. If when you get to the bottom you survive, you're freed. Now you say that, but you know this is Chillingham. The amount of times that people had survived only to be then carried back up to the top of the hill and put in for another roll, that kind of thing happened too. But some people did survive, and some people did manage to get out of the barrel, usually blinded, paralysed, crippled, badly wounded, because 6-inch nails penetrating your head when you're spinning around you doesn't bear thinking about. But it was an opportunity to survive. Witches' baskets here too. Other gadgets that would essentially lift men up. Various winches and what have you. But what a place this is. It's the A to Z of torture. Excuse me. It's live, and I couldn't do anything about that. My apologies. Very, very dusty in here. And the thing we're going to do is, I'm going to sit down here, Richard. I don't know whether you want to as well, on the edge of this headsman's axe. Now, I'm risking hemorrhoids here, so I would imagine you should maybe...
I'll stand.
Oh, you'll stand, are you sure?
I'm thinking.
My buttocks, I have confidence. I have confidence and faith in... But John Sage, we're coming for you now. This is your place. This is where you burnt people, blinded them. Let's see if he's here.
Ready?
Let's do it. All right, John. I'm right next to your headsman's axe. Heard a girl's voice there. It's a bit echoey in here. You might hear them better at home. So where are you, Sage? John Sage, where are you? That's the torture chamber you murdered your girlfriend on. Come on, John. Make yourself known. You see it? Noise behind me, noise behind me! Are you there, John? I'm hearing other noises like somebody dragging a foot. I don't know whether you get that. We're getting some in the distance. Is that you, John? Your leg's still hurting you. One of the best things the Scots ever did was putting that in you. You're very quiet, John. Is there anybody else down here? Anybody here in the torture chamber? By fire? That may well be. Whoa! I've just seen a ghost. Right there. Right there. Just at the door. It's just stepped out and stepped in. Clear as day. 100%. 100%. Just seen a ghost. Stepped out, stepped in. Like to have a quick look and then disappear.
Evil.
Was that you, John? Have I just seen you? Was a young man. Have I just seen you? I'm not a bad man. Are you a bad man? Everybody thinks you're the monster here. They come here because you were a monster. Look at all the toys you played with. What are you frightened of, John? What are you frightened of, John? What are you scared of, John? Dead end, who would have thought the torture chamber? Nothing in the torture chamber. We're getting nothing here. Speak to us. Nothing. Now, we're going to take our leave. We've got so much to do. We're flying around here. Thank you, Richard. Now, most people would say that a police officer wouldn't tell no lies. And we found one. We brought him to Chillingham, and what an experience he had. Now, I've just discovered something. We're in the main open area, the main courtyard of Chillingham Castle. Craig just said that he's seen a ghost before. I didn't know this. You're at Ponteland Old Police Station, where the old block is with a tower in the middle.
That's right. I used to work there many, many years ago. It would have been about 18 years ago now.
Yeah.
I was doing some photocopying at the bottom of the tower. The building, I think it's around 100 years old. As I was leaving the room, which has only got one way in and one way out, there's a glass door. I could see myself in the glass reflection, and directly to the left of me, I could see what appeared to be a small boy.
And you could see that clearly?
Yeah, really clearly. So I spun around. Obviously there was nobody there, but as time's gone on through the years, there's more and more stories appeared from staff who work up there about this little boy having been seen.
It's strange, and I know people seem to come to places like this, but you can see one anywhere.
I think it was an orphanage, wasn't it?
It was before it became a police station. Right, we're going to load you up with your equipment. You ready? Mm-hmm. Right. Can I say, Richard, can you be our guide here? Yeah. Richard's our buff and he's our scientist. Never used to believe in stuff, and then he's seen so much with us now that he's kind of got a slightly different grip on it. But he's got a lot of high-tech equipment around with him that if there's anything there, we'll hopefully find proof of it. There is no one that side of the castle, right? I'm tempted to put Craig straight in, you know. Shall we put Craig straight in?
Where about?
I don't know. Dungeon?
Yeah.
Or is the dungeon a bit...
Well, we can work up with the dungeon.
I put you in the chapel first. The chapel is they call it a place of hypocrisy because they all go there for their dose of God every day while killing people and murdering and raping and, you know, killing kids and what have you. Most common things in there: people touching you, feeling like there's somebody sitting beside you. Strange lights. There'll be a couple of like little lights that are things like burglar alarms and heat da-da-da-da. Ignore them. But the last time we had people in here, they said there was a really big bright light in front of them, and I don't know how because it cannot be because it's pitch black. Yeah. But I'm tempted to dive straight in. Are you mic'd up and are you running?
Yeah.
Right. Let's go. Right. Watch your step on the stairs, yeah, because they're. Oh, it's open for us. Very good. Watch your head. It's down there you're going. Hang on. Oh, yeah.
It's down there.
We're going down. Through the curtain. Right. I would suggest there. I'll just let you see what you're getting into. You got it?
Yeah.
The thing I ask you not to do, don't come running.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Because you will fall over.
Right.
Okay? Absolutely. Where we will be,
yeah.
You know, at the bottom of the stairs, the courtyard where your door is.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to get you if you shout, okay?
Absolutely pitch black. I can just hear the wind at the moment. It's so dark. I can't even see my hand in front of my face. There's absolutely no light whatsoever. Wow, I don't think I've been anywhere as dark. It's cold as well. Something creaking. What's that? Can you hear that? Sounds like something tapping. It's actually getting warmer. It feels like it's getting warm. It feels quite peaceful and calm as well. Certainly not picking up any bad vibes in the room. It's quite a small room. It's currently in the old chapel. Just currently sitting on a bench in the centre of the chapel. I think there's a window behind me, but that's covered up. I think there's only one way in and one way out. The way out is to my left, about 30 foot away, up some stairs. There's no... Wow. can see there's a light flashing above my head. There's a very, very, very faint yellow light flashing. It's coming and going. Oh, I'm feeling very cold now. The temperature seems to be changing again. What's that? I don't know if the mic's picked that up. Did you hear that? It feels like it's getting darker and darker. I can hear the wind whistling outside, coming from the window. Oh, listen. Something moving. Something moving outside. I feel as if there's something behind us. I do feel as if there's somebody behind us. Oh, fuck! Something's just tapped us on the back. Something whispering. Nah, don't like it in there. Not one bit.
You alright?
Yeah.
What happened?
I felt as if something battered us on the back. I jumped up and I thought I could hear whispering.
Right.
I ended up having to come out. It was quite overwhelming, actually.
You're Bobby. You had to protect us.
That wasn't very comfortable at all.
Something hit you on the back.
I felt as if there was something behind us, and it was absolutely pitch black. The room at first, it was quite warm. It was cold, and then it was initially cold, then it went quite warm, and I felt it was getting warmer and warmer, and then the temperature started changing again, getting cooler and cooler, and then I felt as if there was something behind us.
Well, we heard all of this, like a bit of banging, a bit of crashing, so we ran over, and can I just tell you that I've been here a few times. I don't think I've ever nearly shat myself more than when
I didn't even know where I was going, and
that's why you shouldn't run. Just shout Alan and I'll come and get you. You got a mobile phone?
Yeah.
You take it out. It's very rare that we get somebody bolting out of the very first place. What was the first thing that you got?
Initially, it was absolutely pitch black. I could just hear the wind behind us. And then I thought I saw a very, very, very faint yellow light in front of us.
Right.
That kind of kept coming and going. Then I thought there was one directly above us.
Yeah, that's what people say. I don't know how.
The temperature was sort of changing, going from really cold to warm, then really cold again. And then I heard a couple of something like clicks directly behind us. That's when I said
Now behind you is external wall.
I think there was
No, but I mean the wall behind you.
Oh yeah, there was outside the castle in a wall in the window, and I felt as if there was something standing directly behind us, and I could hear like a couple of clicks.
Right.
And then I felt something sort of go on my back, and that's when I leapt up. So I stood quietly, turned around,
brave,
stood sort of, and then I thought I could hear whispering. And that's when I said, I think I can hear something whispering, and then crapped myself and come running out.
That tap on the shoulder is enough for you policeman to get it.
I jumped up.
Alan Robson goes back into the darkness at Chillingham Castle to talk to the dead.
Metro Radio.
Do you remember when I put the rock band Ash into Chillingham Castle? They got surprise after surprise. This was just a taste.
Why are we sitting down?
Sit.
The chandelier's moving.
The chandeliers actually are moving.
They're both moving.
They're
There's
moving.
no wind in here. There's no wind.
Well, he opened
There's
the
nothing to
door,
move it.
But he opened the door, which changes the wind in a room.
What, they're iron chandeliers. They're not going to move with wind.
Oh, Jesus.
They're
That's
moving.
the first thing I noticed.
Talk. Tell me what you feel. Okay? You okay? Right, good. Okay,
I was better in the wasn't I?
Yeah, we were good. Yeah, she
Just
was
tell
better
me
than
what
me.
you feel. Tell me if you hear anything. I want all of that, please.
Okay, you're close.
I'm gonna move Rick.
Wait, what is that right there?
Well,
Just
yeah.
wondering. Oh, Jesus, it's an. Oh, I
Just a
hate.
skull.
I love animals. I hate.
A couple of skulls, but they're not alive to do you any harm.
I know. That's.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
definitely
moving.
moving.
They're definitely moving.
How are they moving?
They're moving in a circular motion as well. It's not just anything. It's like they're moving like a what's it called, pentagon. You know when you
A circle.
yeah, like a circular move.
They're moving, though. There's no question about it. Well, good luck.
Hey, Alan, you're close when we. We need an exit route.
Through here, watch your head, up the stairs, but
But I don't want to go back up there because it's
Rick's
in
going
the
to be in the
church.
chapel, and you've just
Oh,
seen
right,
a white
okay.
thing in the chapel.
All right,
and the
so
chapel's
hopefully-
just behind you, okay?
Okay, well, we'll
Alan, if
stay
we're
here.
Screaming. Okay.
You couldn't come and
my
get us,
God,
though, yeah?
'cause there's. At least there's some light. Jesus Christ! No way! No!
Alan, no! Something! Oh, there's something down there!
There's something down. No!
Nah, no way!
What happened? What happened?
There's a noise! Somebody threw something!
Somebody did that.
There's definitely somebody in here.
Don't.
There's definitely, Alan, there's
someone
definitely
in here,
somebody
no
in
way.
here. No.
Come down.
No.
I can't.
Come down.
Down where? Down there? I'm not going down there.
Okay.
Well, I will.
It popped a light bulb or something.
Yeah, the light bulb popped or something.
Fell. Holy
Christ!
I'm crying.
And before that, a Scottish band called Leminescent. We brought them here, and right in the middle of the room, in the Great Hall, half the table lifted up in front of 7 people and crashed back to the floor.
I just feel glad that I got the opportunity to do it, and I would definitely come back. And
Shoot.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm
Come on. Enough. It's all right. Careful. Go. That's the door. Don't go down the chapel.
We placed the band's manager with one of the girls in the torture chamber. This is what she got.
it's going in the distance now. It's like going to be over there. I know. I can hear people behind us as well. But that's... Oh, it's moving. It's coming.
Alan Robson with you. We are climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing because we're in the opposite tower now, and it's a kind of staircase that if you're going to do it, have lots of regular stops, like where there is the bull's head. That's fossilised bull's head. It's 1.5 million years old. You may never in your life get to be in the presence of something that old again. Worth a stop. Loads of things to see. Then you turn around and there's more stairs. And we get right to the very top of the castle pretty much. Past spinning wheels and cattle horns. And then you see a door straight ahead of you. The tower outside to your right. Oops. And a few steps down. That's the Edward room, where King Edward the First, the Hammer of the Scots, Longshanks, actually slept. And we're in, Richard and I. Now apparently, this is the room where the little boy overheard the people here in Chillingham talking about the Armada when he was captured. It's also where late at night you can see bats nesting in the concrete. There's a battlement, like a balcony right the way around above our heads. There's a chamber at the back, private chamber, where the king would probably poo, stick his bum out the window and water the flowers. There's a bed to the left-hand side, a very humble bed, especially for a king. A table where he could eat and drink and have his supporters around him. And we're in the corner. In here, so many people have seen so many things. There's a huge double-handed sword up against the back wall. Just makes you wonder how many people lost their lives to that. Also a knight's accoutrement standing at the back. And little collective things from all over the world here, because the Wakefields, my goodness, have been everywhere doing everything, and they always bring it back like this. This might have been one of the original pikes that fought off the Scots back in the day. There's 1,000 stories about things. I once brought the BBC. The BBC didn't believe that ghosts existed, so I says, come with me to Chillingham and I'll let you loose on your own. They came in here, and on the upstairs window on the balcony, it was completely covered with blue bottles. Probably over 1 million blue bottles all in one place, in a massive ball covering the window and making the whole place dark. You don't need them tonight, it's already pitch black. But they filmed them, and then they went away, came back 2 minutes later to get another shot of the blue bottles, and there was none here. Nothing at all. So, Richard, come on, let's have a try of this. Let's see if we can get anything. We may get the king. Imagine, we might be in the presence of royalty here. So, we're heading into the centre of the room. Whoa! The Edward the First room. Hello, is there anyone here? Is there anyone here? There's a young girl's voice I've just heard. Hello. Who are you? Hello. And what's your name?
Edward.
Edward, give over. Are you here, Edward? Bobby's here too. Edward, are you the king? Blimey. Maybe there's a lot of people being called Edward in their time. Did you die here, Edward? Or did you stay here?
The same one again, I missed it.
Yeah. Did you stay here, Edward? Did you stay here, Edward? Edward, my goodness. Speak to us. They're talking to us nicely now. Sentences. Hello. Talk to us. Did you live here at the castle? Did you die here at the castle? Come on, tell us. Who's there? Edward, are you still there? Edward! Speak to us, Edward. I heard you, Edward. I heard you again. Why are you here now? Why are you here now? Edward!
Try your grace, see what happens. Ah, yes. Yeah, I said your grace, yes.
Hello, your grace. Are you the king? Are you the king? Or did you die here in the castle, Edward? Die, I heard die. Did you die here at the castle? Wasn't Edward's voice, though.
Yeah.
How did you die here? God, this is frustrating. If there is a spirit in this room, speak to us. Are you in here with us? Make yourselves known. You are. Make yourselves known. Show me. Show me. Are you here? Are you sharing space with me right now? Are you here?
Howdy.
Howdy? Well, hello. Who are you? Why are you here? Is John Sage there? He was a friend of yours, Edward, John Sage. He let you down. Like he would. You don't trust him. You had him hanged. You had him hanged.
Something about dragging.
Something. You see me as a friend. I'm glad I see you as a friend. Yes, the man with his leg dragging. John Sage, he was called. The man with the dragging foot. What was his no? Things are happening in here. Things are happening. Was that you, John? You wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. But I wouldn't melt in your mouth, would it, John? You hurt a lot of people here. Why did you hurt so many people? You got kicks out of hurting them. You got kicks. Yeah, I know you did. You got a lot of kicks out of doing it. Because you're a monster. What does it feel like to be hated for hundreds of years? How do you feel being hated? How do you feel about being the drag foot?
Weird.
Weird. The woman there too.
Staying there.
Staying there. I know you can't. Nothing we can do about that. Do you choose to stay here? Or could you move on? Talking to Sage. Could you move on, John? Yeah. Yes, he could. Well, we're moving on too. Yeah, oh my goodness. Sometimes the contact is just so devastatingly full on. On other occasions, you get nothing and it frustrates the hell out of you. However, we have one more place to do, and it's probably the most captivating that we have. But before I make my way down there, you can have a listen to this instead of hearing me huffing and puffing up and downstairs. This is Richard and I with a police officer in the chapel where it all kicked off, and we all saw clearly. Just wait till you hear this. Our policeman saw a lot. wasn't terrified enough to run out. But there was a moment when Richard, our boffin, myself, and Craig went into the chapel. And do you know the film Casper, the Friendly Ghost, where you see white things sweeping across the ceiling? We all saw exactly that. And I made sure that while we were there, we put any torches on that we had to make sure that it couldn't possibly be us making those incredible, strange, otherworldly things that we saw. We were in a locked room, there was no light, and yet we were seeing it firing and sweeping around us. This is what it sounded like.
I think I can see something high left, but it's not towards the... Whoa, there. That was a big one. Can you see overhead?
Yeah. Did that just open up right in the middle?
Yeah.
Well, we saw funny lights. I don't know what it was.
But you see, people see white shit moving and they call them ghosts.
But Melissa seemed to think it moved.
Now, I'd like to see one. So come on. If you are a Scottish boy, come on. Show us. It's been a quiet...
No, there.
Do you see something going up the ceiling?
Yeah.
Come on, show us.
I can see what appears to be a bit of light.
Top left?
Top left.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but tell me what you saw, because I wanted to make sure that it's the same as what I've just seen.
There was a light at the top left, which I think we've all agree we can see.
Yeah.
See some sort of what appears to be like...
First
What
time.
did you see in the middle, just after that?
Just to the right of where the light is that we've all seen, it appeared to open up into the centre of the room. And then, there you go.
Well, that's moving.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Did you hear that?
What was that? Did you hear
I heard a...
Is it a voice?
It was like a croaking. Was it a voice? Was it in here?
It's coming from the back.
But I saw a white thing. Now, if that's what people... You know, when you're lying asleep and you wake up and you see some bit of white fly around.
Well, I've got some light still in the top of the room.
Yeah.
I can still see top left
But I thought
lit.
there was some little bit of movement there before.
I'm sorry, but I'm to be honest, I'm satisfied. Even if I get no more tonight. Because I saw that just after that thing opened up, and it was almost like it opened up a circle in the middle almost.
Yeah.
Did you definitely see that?
Yeah, and then it appeared to be kind of on the moving up the back wall.
Then it seemed to be lower down but going up.
Uh-huh.
And since then I've seen one go slightly east to west. Oh, hello?
Yeah. Centre of the room, at the back.
Yeah. But that was kind of a...
It's like a horizontal line, wasn't it?
Is this what ghosts... You know, because I've seen a figure of a thing, but you know when people say, oh, I saw a big white thing. Because what you got to remember is we're in Chillingham Castle, so we're heads together. It's just we have to make sure that what we see, we all see, and it's not like mass hypnosis.
Yeah.
If I said, I've just seen it, whatever, you might say, oh yeah. But we have to... So next, if there is any more, show us some more. Come on! Bring it on.
What the
Did you see that?
Yeah.
The back wall lit up.
But the thing is, I've got a torch, right? Mm-hmm. If I was going to do that with a torch, let's see what it looks like, right?
That wasn't you with a torch.
That's
right, and I've got a torch on my head, which is like this.
Completely different light.
It's almost like the light was on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look what's happening. Look up high. Is there like a misty patch of light now? On the
Is there? I'm not getting misty, Richard.
Oh, Or is it just because the eyes are getting...
I don't know. I'm not getting that. I must say, I can still see the light, whatever. And I don't even know how that can be there all the time because there's no light from outside, is there?
Do you think it's getting colder?
I think it's much colder than when we came in, but it was.
My back's freezing.
Yeah, I'm gonna lift my arms up.
Did you see it? There to the right, lower down, towards the back of the room, there was a flash.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I'm trying to take the ceiling in, and so if things happen, I'll try and mix it.
Centre.
It's like a light show. Come on. Freezing. I've just lifted my arms up.
Is it me? But I thought I saw something in the back of the room where we were shining our torches before.
Yeah.
Did anybody else see that?
I didn't. Did you?
Did.
Didn't see it.
Just a light. I've just seen lights so far.
Top left, still the major light in here.
But it seems to vary in intensity.
What is up there? Is there a window up there?
Oh.
Whoa.
Two things side by side.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, and
got that.
residual.
Got it. Seen. I saw that.
It looked like two things.
There was two odd things.
And then there was like a little wriggling up.
Two odd things.
The hell?
What's up there?
That must be a window behind the...
Yeah, but it's a really thick, heavy curtain.
Two odd things. Did you see that, Craig?
Yeah, certainly, definitely back centre.
I'm feeling really, really cold. I came in here and my arms were quite warm. Very noticeably feel the watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's something. Right.
It's definitely been the most active room, hasn't it?
Right from the very beginning, and we were kind of looking at you going, come on. But you are right, there's stuff in here.
Turn down the lights if you dare. Hear every step we take around Chillingham Castle. Only on Night Owls.
Metro Radio.
Alan Robson with you in a fantastic room. It looks halfway between like a livery, saddles, all that kind of thing. But there's a huge coracle on the wall. And imagine trying to get across a lake in one of them. Rather you than me. But the place that we've come to is it's something that came from the French. It's a word called oubliette. It means oblivion. And the French created this. And we believe the very first one anywhere in Britain was Chillingham Castle. It's marked dungeon. To me, it should be marked oubliette, but that's just me. Because if it was the first one ever in Britain, it should be celebrated. Because I don't know of any others before Chillingham. Now, what was the idea of it? The idea was to create a couple of different chambers. Why were people imprisoned? If they didn't like you, they killed you. They didn't keep you. They only tortured you if they wanted information from you. Or, in John Sage's case, they kind of liked it. So they'd put people in the first chamber, knowing that in the second chamber, they were going to break your arms and break your legs and put you through a hole in the floor, on top of other people who had had their arms and legs broken and pushed through the floor in this little metal hole that's in the floor. Now, if you were in the bottom, your natural instinct is to try and survive, so you'd have to eat or drink bodily fluids, human flesh, raw, just to try and keep alive. And it was said that in the bottom of this oubliette at one time, they had over 70 bodies. Now, having seen how small it is in there, I don't know how that's possible, unless the human body squashes down fairly flatly once all of the ooze comes out of it. They had to open a door at the back of the castle behind the oubliette to allow for the human fluid to wash out, and the stench was said to be absolutely terrible. But why was the 2 chambers? Well, the first chamber was put somebody in there who you want to confess, who you want information from, and then let them hear the hands being broken and the legs being broken and them being forced through this hole, far too small to get a human body through, but they'd force you through there. Screaming, yelling, bawling. And then they'd put you in there with blood around the hole and the broken body underneath being eaten by whatever else was down there, and there'd be rats and mice and all kinds. The oubliette's a nasty damn thing. It's sending people to oblivion. Now, you've got to be really careful. I always say this, then I bang my head, because you take a step down. Now, when you come, there'll be lights on, but at this time of night, there's no point. It's just pitch. Oh, yep, there you go. He's fallen already. And there's the door. There's a big, heavy door on it. You can use your fingers on the top to... Oh, dear. Then you climb through a tiny, tiny door. If you were a sufferer of claustrophobia, you will not do terribly well. And you are now in the dungeon, and there on the floor is the grate. Now, directly beneath us, there is, directly beneath the grate, is the body of a little girl, the last person to go through the oubliette, the last person to have her arms and legs broken and to be hurled into the pit. As a kind of tribute to her, they've left the grave open so that people can see the horror of their ways. And can you imagine being in here where you can touch all 4 walls pretty much from where you are if you're standing in the centre of the room? Richard, can you make your way into here, mate?
Well, I'm not going in there, I'll pass you the light.
Wait, that's champion. Hang on, Richard's not doing it well. Give me the gadget, close the door, and let's see. Let's see what happens. Shut the door. It's now pitch black in here. Let's see what we get. Is there anybody in here? Is there anybody in here? Is there anybody in here? Are you the little girl down the hall? Is there anybody here? Getting nothing at all. Is there anyone here? Not a glimpse of noise. Not a thing. Could it be the walls are too strong around here to get signals through? Hello? Is there anyone in here? Is there anyone in here? Is there anyone in here? Oh my goodness, we were building this place up and we're getting nothing. Is there anybody there? Not a thing. Last chance. Just sounds to me like there's no signal getting through. If you are from the other side, speak to us now. We would love you to say something to us. Were you trapped in the oubliette? Did John Sage hurt you at all? Speak to us. No, it's not happening.
Not getting anything, Richard. I think the walls are too strong. Let me get out of here. And thanks for walking away with a torch. Right. I think we're going to have a try in here.
Talk to the doorway.
You know, I said I always bump my head. Jinx, Crivens and Help My Bob and other things that Wooly would have said. Let's get sat down. I want to try. We have to talk to somebody. Let's try in here. There was no signal coming through in the oubliette at all. Not a thing. So, let's have a go. Now, this is the room where they would be held before they went into the oubliette. Now can you speak to us? Hello? Were you placed in the oubliette? Were you placed there? Did you die in the oubliette? What's your name? Getting something. Is that you, John? Sounds like John again. Did you put them in the oubliette? Did you break their arms and legs, John? What happened to you? Did you hurt them, John? Did you hurt them, John? Yes. Would you do it again? Why do you like blood so much? Why do you like blood so much? You said you would do it again. You enjoyed hurting people. What kick do you get out of seeing people die? I heard him say something, I couldn't make it out. It's just so matter of fact, isn't it, John? You don't even think twice about it now. John, speak to us. We're outside your oubliette. We're going to leave the castle now. We're going to leave. Have you anything else? Oh, don't say that. I've just been sworn at again. Why is it that I always get sworn at? I'm a pregnant fish, according to John Sage. Yes, I am, and I'm sticking my nose in your business. So you can call me that name if you like, but you're a monster, and everybody hates you, and they come to the castle to loathe you. How does that make you feel? Yeah. They loathe you. They come here because they hate you. How does that make you feel? You're very quiet now, aren't you? Do you not want people to think of you like that? Scum. Murderous scum. Putting a woman in there. She agrees with me. She knows what you really like. Scum. And your own king hanged you. Your penis and testicles cut off for souvenirs. Your fingers cut off. Your nose, your ears. That's a fine thank you from your king. Even your king hated you, you scumbag. Come on then. Speak to them. You know everybody hates you.
Why do you stay here? Why don't you leave? Nobody wants you. We're leaving now. Thank you to all the entities that have spoken to us. Thank you to all the spirits that have made us welcome over all our visits. As we do our lap of honour. We're leaving now. Do you care? Do you care, John? This might be the last time anybody ever hears your voice. I heard you.